Good afternoon, students. I hope you are doing good at home. Today, we will continue with the first chapter of history, that is when, where, and how. Okay, today we'll start with the new topic, that is sources of history. Now, before getting into the topic, let us understand the meaning of source, or you can say source. Okay, sources or source. See, what do you mean by source? A source is a place or a thing from which you get the information. So what do you mean by the source? Source is a place or a thing from which you get the information. Okay, for example, if you need the recipe for making ice cream, so from which source you get the information? Either you refer to a book, a cookbook, either you refer magazine, or either you search the recipe on internet. So how many sources did you use? You have used book also, you have used magazine also, or you can use your internet also. So these are the sources from which you got the information, or from this sources you can get the information about the recipe to make ice cream. In the similar way, see, sources of history means what? Sources of history means a place or a thing from which you get the information about the history. So the sources can be a place also, and sources can be a thing also. So source can be a place or a thing from which we get the information about our history, or we get the information about the past. Okay, now let us see how many categories of sources of history were there. See, sources of history are divided into three categories. The sources of history are divided into how many categories? The sources of history are divided into three categories. The first is literary sources, the second is archaeological sources, and the third is on accounts of foreign travelers. We will study in detail all these categories in our further slide. Now, before this, let us understand some terms. See, there were many specialists who studied and worked on history. See, specialists who are known as specialists. See, specialists are the one, or specialists are the person who have specialized knowledge, or who have in-depth knowledge about their field. Means specialists are the person who are experts in their field and who have complete knowledge about their field, or who have complete knowledge about their profession. Those people are known as specialists. Okay, so specialists are the person who have specialized knowledge about their field, or they have in-depth knowledge about their field, or they are the experts of their field. Okay, so there are some of the specialists who actually studied and worked on the history. Let us see who were they. Now, see, the first specialist is archaeologist. Archaeologist, who is known as an archaeologist? Archaeologists are the person who recover objects by digging the objects buried under the earth. Who is an archaeologist? See, archaeologist is the one who recover the object. Recover the objects means who find out the objects which were buried, which were buried buried under the earth. So archaeologists are the person who find out the objects by digging the objects which were buried under the earth. See, the objects can be anything. In the earlier time, the people used to bury all the objects, all the remains of the people, like their dead body or their ornaments or the utensil, they used to bury under the ground. So archaeologist does what? The archaeologist dig the earth and search all the objects and recover those objects, or find those objects which were buried under the earth. Okay, now the next is scientist. Who is known as a scientist? What is the work of scientist? The scientist chemically tested the recovered objects through a process called carbon dating. Carbon dating. What is the work of the scientist? Whatever the objects, as you have understood that archaeologist is the person who find the objects which were buried under the earth in the earlier times, like the ornaments, metals, or the skeletons of the dead body, etc. Okay, so that objects or those recovered objects are chemically tested by the scientists through a process called carbon dating. What is the process of carbon dating? See, carbon dating is a chemical process. It is a method of calculating the age of a very old objects by measuring the amounts of different forms of carbon in them. Means simply, you need not bother about the in-depth understanding of this method. You just understand that carbon dating is a process, or carbon dating is a method of calculating the age of very old object. Through carbon dating process, we get to know how old that objects are. Okay, now see, let us move to the third specialist, that is sociologist. Who are the sociologists? Sociologists are the one who connect things recovered in similar times and locations. See, as you know that archaeologists were the person who actually recovered the objects which by digging the objects buried under the earth. Okay, now whatever the objects which were found by the archaeologist, these objects were chemically tested by the scientist. Okay, after the testing of the object, the socialist does what? The socialist connect the recovered object in similar times. It means that, see, they make the connections between them and help us to understand how things probably happened in those times. Means socialist helps us to understand the lifestyle of the people of those time in the ancient time, and what were the cultural beliefs, or what were their tradition, or how they used to live, what kind of ornaments they used to wear, okay, what kind of metals they used to use. By learning about the recovered objects, they can tell us what was the living style of the people of the ancient times. Okay, as socialist, as you know that the archaeologist obtained the objects, scientists chemically test those objects, and socialists help us to understand that by learning or by seeing those recovered objects, socialists help us to understand that how were the living style of the people of those time. Okay, now, coming to the fourth, that is historians. What do you mean by historians? Historians are the one who record the history in a systematic manner. See, record the history means they generally, whatever the findings were there, okay, whatever the findings were there, whatever the findings of archaeologists were there, and whatever the chemical tested results of scientists were there, and whatever the socialist tried to make us understand about the lifestyle of the people, all these things were recorded by whom? All these things were recorded by the historians in a systematic manner. In a systematic manner means, you can say in a systematic manner means in a proper sequence of order in which they generally occurred. Okay, means it is a sequence of like generally they used to record the series of events or the fact, okay, in a proper order, that is how they have occurred one by one. In that order or in the chronological order, they have recorded all the events and the facts of earlier time. Okay, so let us quickly review the work of the specialist. See, specialists are the one who have special knowledge, or who have specialized knowledge, or who are the expertise, or who are the expert in their field. Now, first is archaeologist. The work of archaeologist is what? Archaeologist is the person who dig the earth and recover the objects, or find out the objects which were buried under the earth. Now, scientist. What is the work of scientist? Whatever the objects were recovered by the archaeologists, it was chemically tested by the scientists by a process called carbon dating, which helped us to know how old that objects were. Now, socialist does what? Socialist, by looking the objects, they help us to understand how those objects were used by the people, how the living style of the people was there during the earlier time. And lastly, the historians record all the history which were obtained, or record all the informations which were obtained by the archaeologist, scientist and the socialist. They record all the information of the past in a systematic manner. Means in a systematic manner means in the order of the occurrence, means in the chronological order, one after the another they record all the information about the history. Now see, as we have studied, there were three sources of history. Now we will study in detail about all the three sources. See, the first source was literary sources, the second source was archaeological sources, and the third was on account of foreign travel. We will study all the three sources in our next slide. Let us start. See, the first is literary sources. What do you mean by literary sources? See, literary sources are the written records. Literary sources means whatever the records which were written during those time, all those records were written by hand, and those records were known as literary sources. Okay, the ancient people used to write and record the things about their lifestyle, what they used to be, how they used to be, what kind of metals they used, how they developed themselves, what was the belief that time, their culture, their tradition, about the kings, about the rulers, about everything they used to write, and all those written records are known as the literary sources from which we get the information about the past. See, on what they used to write everything before the invention of the paper. During that time, as you know, the paper was not invented. Okay, so before the invention of the paper, the people used to write on what? Before the invention of the paper, the people used to write on the bark of birch tree and palm leaves. Now see, the bark of birch tree looks somewhat like this. Okay, this is the bark of birch tree, and when they dry up and when the writing is done, then it looks somewhat like this. In this way they write and record things on the bark of birch tree. Okay, now they also write on the palm leaves. See, these are the natural palm leaves, but when they dry up they look somewhat like this. Okay, these are the palm leaves. In these palm leaves also the early people used to write, and these written records are known as what? These are called manuscript. Okay, all the record or all the written records which were written by hand by the early people or by ancient people on the bark of birch tree or on the palm leaves, these all the written records were known as what? These all written records were known as manuscripts. Now what do you mean by manuscripts? Simple, it's very simple. Manuscripts are the copy or the book or the document that was written by hand. Okay, what is manuscript? Manuscripts are the copy or book or document that was written by hand. Now moving to the next topic, that is type of literary sources. We have studied in the first, that is what do you mean by literary sources. Now we will study how many types of literary sources were there. See, there were two types of literary sources. The first was religious sources and the second was secular sources. See, before getting into the meaning, let us simply understand what are the two sources. Religious sources means religious sources are the sources which help us to get the information about the religions of the people. And secular sources are the sources which gives the information apart from the religious information. It means that religious sources are the sources which gave us the information about the religions of the people, the cultural beliefs of the people, and the secular sources are the sources which gave us the information, which gave us many information apart from the religious information. Now let us understand the meaning of these two sources. The first is religious sources. Religious sources provide the knowledge about the religious literature. So what the religious sources does? Religious sources provide us the knowledge about the religious literature. For example, see, these are the example of religious sources: the Puranas, the Vedas, the Upanishad. These are the Vedas, these are the Puranas, and these are the Upanishad. Okay, so these are the example of religious sources. What are these? These are the books which contain information about a particular religion. Okay, so religious sources give us the information about the particular religion of the ancient India. Okay, now coming to the next one, that is secular source. What do you mean by secular source? See, secular source includes grammar, poems, drama, etc. For example, Arthashastra by Chanakya and plays written by Kalidasa. See, secular sources, as I told you earlier, secular sources are the sources which are not connected with the religious literature. Okay, religious sources are the sources which gives us the information only about the religions. Okay, but secular sources are the sources which do not give us the information about any religions, or they are not connected with any religious book or literature. Okay, so secular sources are the sources which generally includes your grammar or poems or drama. Okay, they are not connected with any religion, or they are not concerned with any religious subjects. Okay, some of the example of secular sources are Arthashastra by Chanakya and plays written by Kalidasa. There were many plays or many drama which was written by the poet Kalidas, and there was a book which was written by Chanakya, that is Arthashastra. Okay, Arthashastra means, the Arthashastra is the means they generally tell us about the economic policy of the people of those ancient times. See, economic policy means the study of money, or how they deal with the money during those time, and what was the money transaction and how they utilize the money for the development of the economy. So Arthashastra tell us about the economic condition of the ancient people. Arthashastra tell us about the economic condition about the people of ancient India, how they used to deal with the money, the dealing of the money, and the study of all the dealings of the money was known as Arthashastra. These are just the example, you need not go in depth concept of all this. This generally tells us that these are the sources from which we get to understand about the religions of the people, we get to understand about the cultural beliefs of the people, and we get to understand about the drama or poems or the grammars which were written by the written during those time, which gave us the knowledge about the ancient India. Okay, now moving to the next source, as we have read the first source, that was that was literary source. Now we will move to the next source, number 2, that is archaeological source. Now what do you mean by archaeological source? Let us read now. See, archaeology, what is the meaning? Archaeology is the study of remains of the past. What do you mean by archaeology? Archaeology is the process of study of the remains of the past, means whatever the remains or whatever the objects which we have found from the past. Objects means it can be any book, it can be a metal, it can be coins, it can be ornaments, jewelries, or it can be the utensils, potteries, etc., which were found by the archaeologist during the excavations or etc. Okay, so those study means the study of all those objects, or study of all the remains of the past, gives us the knowledge about the people of the past. Okay, so what do you mean by archaeology? Archaeology is simply the study of the remains of the past, means it is the study of all the remains of the past. What are the remains? Remains means whatever the objects which were found by the archaeologist. Now, archaeologists dig the earth to search for the remains of the past. As I already told, what is the work of the archaeologist? Archaeologist work is to dig the earth and to search the remains. Remains means what? See students, remains means whatever the things which were buried by the early people, or what were the things which were left by the early people. The archaeologist study all those materials, all those things, to understand about the people of that time. Okay, to understand about the lifestyle of the people of that time, to understand about the living style of the people, what kind of utensils they used to have during that time, what kind of tools they used to have at that time, what kind of jewelries they used to wear at that time. So archaeologists actually study about all these things, and they get the knowledge about the people and the lifestyle of the people of the ancient India. Okay, now see, archaeologists dig the earth to search for the remains of the past buried under it. They study about remains. सी वो किस बारे में पढ़ाई करते हैं, सी वो कौन कौन सी चीज़ों के बारे में पढ़ते हैं, द आर्कियोलॉजिस्ट. सी दे स्टडी अबाउट द बिल्डिंग, pottery, weapons, tools, ornaments, bones, grains, etc. Okay, they also studied about monuments or buildings. Means these are the things which are studied by the archaeologists. Means archaeologists ये सारी चीज़ों के बारे में पढ़ते हैं, buildings के बारे में, old buildings जो पुराने ज़माने में build की गई थी, those buildings, the potteries which we see, these are the potteries, these are the tools or the weapons which were used by the early women, and these are the kinds of jewelries or the ornaments which were worn by the people. Okay, so these are, see, these are the coins. Okay, so by studying all these things, okay, by studying all these things, the archaeologist get all the information about the people and the living style of the people of the ancient time. Okay, now let us see how many types of archaeological sources are there. Number one, inscription. See, what are inscription? Inscriptions are recorded. See, inscription are records engraved mostly on stone pillars, rocks, or on metal slabs. Okay, what do you mean by inscription? See, inscription are records engraved mostly on stones, pillars, rocks, and metal slabs. Means the people of the ancient India used to record all the information about their lifestyle, or they used to write something about their kings or the rulers on the stone pillars, or they will write the things on the rock or on the metal slabs. You can see in this picture, see in this picture, in a pillar there are some inscriptions which were written by the ancient people. See students, inscriptions are just the writings. Means inscriptions are nothing but only the writing or the records of the ancient people, what they used to have. Okay, like generally the inscription shows us the evidence about their past. Means what was the kind of living they had. Okay, the people of ancient India they don't have the paper that time. Okay, so they used to write the things on the stones, on the pillar, as we have studied. They used to write on the bark of birch tree or on the paper. So they used all these materials to write about their living style, to write about their cultures, to write about their religions, to write about their kings, and etc. So all the things, okay, all the things they used to write on all these stuffs. See, this is the stone pillar. Now this is the stone pillar. See, these are the stones, these are the walls, and these are the rocks on which they used to write. Okay, now coming to the next type of archaeological source, that is coins. See, the coins, the study of coins is known as numismatic. Okay, the study of coin is known as numismatic. Now one more thing that is very important, inscriptions are the most reliable evidence, and their study is known as epigraphy. Means the person or the study of the inscription is known as epigraphy. Okay, and the study of coin is known as numismatic. The process of studying of inscription is known as epigraphy, and the process of studying of coins or process of studying about the history is known as numismatics. Okay, now see, what does coins tell us? Coins enable us to understand the ruler and the extent of his rule. Metals used in the coins tells us about the economic condition of a particular empire. See, what does coins tells us? You can see in this coin, this is a coin in which it is shown Samudragupta, King Samudragupta is playing Veena. Okay, and this is also a coin which has an impression of a king, and these are the gold coins. Okay, so what does the coins tell? So earlier the coins were punched by the rulers. Okay, they showed the pictures of the rulers, or they showed the picture of the kings. So by looking at those coins, we can understand the rulers, and we can understand the types of the kings which were ruling in those times. Plus, metals used in the coins tell us about the economic condition of a particular empire. In those times, the different metals were used, and they tell us about the economic condition of particular empire. What do you mean by economic condition? See, economic condition generally means how wealthy the kingdom was. See, if they use the gold coins, it means that it shows the richness and the wealth of that particular king in those times. Now, moving to the third point, that is monuments or remains of buildings. See, monuments or remains of buildings means this is the third, sorry, see, we are reading the types of archaeological sources. The first type of archaeological source was inscription. The second type of archaeological source was coins. Now we will see the third type of archaeological source, that is monuments or remains of building. See, monuments consist of buildings, stupas, caves, temples, etc. Buildings which are of historical significance are called monuments. See, historical significance, okay, those buildings which were built in early time in the ancient India, okay, these are actually immensely valuable as they tell us about the art and architecture, religious and cultural life of the people of the period in which they were built. Okay, so buildings which are of historical significance are called monuments. What are the monuments? Monuments are generally the buildings. Okay, monuments are generally the buildings which are of historical significance. Historical significance means what? Historical significance means they are very valuable. Why they are valuable? Because they tell us about the art and architecture, they tell us about the religious and cultural life of the people of the ancient period in which they were built. Okay, some of the examples of the monuments or the buildings are, see, Sanchi Stupa, Ajanta and Ellora caves, etc. You can see this is Ajanta and Ellora caves. In the picture you can see Ajanta and Ellora caves. This is Sanchi Stupa, and these are the examples of some historical buildings and monuments like Hawa Mahal, Taj Mahal, etc. Now, coming to the fourth source, that is artifacts. Artifacts is also a source from which the historians get the, or from which the archaeologists get the information. See, what are artifacts? Artifacts generally are the objects that humans made. Okay, these are generally made by the humans by their hand. Okay, these give us very valuable information of how people lived and how and what was their occupation and what were their customs and what were their beliefs. Okay, so artifacts like ornaments, pottery, weapon, tools. See, you can see in this picture, this is the type of ornaments they used to have during the ancient time. These are the potteries which they used to make by their hand, and these are the tools or the weapons which they used to have. This shows us, or this gives us the knowledge about how people used to live in those ancient time, what kind of metals they were using, what kind of jewelries they were using. This shows about their customs and the traditions. Okay, what kind of pottery they used. This shows about the art about the people, because they are made by hand, and plus the weapons and the tools. All these sources which you have studied, all these shows us, or all these gives us complete knowledge about the life of the people of ancient India. Okay, now coming to the next source. See, let us move to the first one. See, as we know that there are three categories of history. Okay, we have three categories of sources of history. We have studied the literary sources. In the literary sources we have studied about the religious sources and secular sources. Okay, now the next we have studied the archaeological sources. In the archaeological sources we have studied what were the findings of the archaeologist, like the ornaments, like metals, inscription, coins, monuments, building, artifacts, etc. All these were studied. Now the last source is on account of the foreign travelers. Okay, on account of the foreign travelers. Now let us understand this. See, on accounts of the foreign travelers, ancient Indian history is supplemented by the writings of the travelers. Means in ancient history or in ancient time, many foreign travelers were there who actually came to India and they studied about many things about the India, their cultural life, Indian life, like the cultural life of the ancient people, their religious life. Okay, so they studied everything about India. So some examples of those travelers who studied about the India, and they have written about the India in their books. Okay, and by reading those books we get the information about what? By reading those books we get the information about the situation of India in the ancient time. See, some example of these books are from Indica, written by Megasthenes. Megasthenes was a traveler who actually wrote a book which is known as Indica. In his book, he has written about the Mauryan Empire. Means Mauryan Empire, the king, Mauryan king, the rulers, how they used to rule the kingdom, how wealthy they were, about all the information about the kingdoms. Okay. Next is Fa Hein and Hyun Sang. These were the two Chinese traveler. Okay, they came to India and they traveled India and they learned many things about the India. And in their book, see, this was the book which was written by Indica. Okay, sorry, this was the book which is known as Indica and was written by Megasthenes. Okay, in this book Megasthenes tells us about the Mauryan Empire of India. He gave the complete information about this kingdom. Now Fa Hein and Hyun Sang, they also have written in their book about the what? About the socio-economic and religious situation of the people. Means what was the society, how the economic policies of the India was there, means how the people used to deal with the money, and what was the religious situation there, what was the religious belief of the people, what religion they used to follow, everything they have written in their book. So by reading their book, by reading the books which were written by the foreign travelers, we get to know about the life of the people of ancient India. Okay, see, this was the three main categories of sources of history that we have studied. That was the end of the chapter. Now we will conclude our chapter by this. History allows us to learn about how people lived in the past, how they interacted with nature, and how they observed, understood, and experimented, and then devised ways to find new ways of life. So what does the history tells us? See, we can conclude our first chapter by understanding that history allows us to learn about how the people lived. Means how the people lived in the past, how, what was the living style of the people, what was the lifestyle of the people, how they interacted with nature. Means how they slowly, see, in earlier time the people didn't had any knowledge about the nature. They didn't know how to cook food, they didn't know to make the build the house for them, they didn't know to tame animals, they didn't knew anything. But slowly they started they started the and interact they started interacting with the nature, and they started understanding about the nature, and slowly this helped them in devising and finding new ways of life. Means all these things help the people to understand about the past and help them to find out the new ways of living. Okay, so that is why we say that it is very essential and it is very important to understand and to read about the history, because it gives us immense knowledge about the life of the ancient India. That was it for today. Thank you.